Top of the morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Camping 101 channel and welcome to my autumn update. Well, most of the times these days, as I get ready to go off to work, the car is registering, under 5 degrees most days. So it's well and truly starting to get cold. Well, for us here in the British Isles. For those of you who have colder months, anyway, as we come into winter, the car is now starting to really show you what it can do in adverse conditions. As you can see from my last video, I drive through, I live in the country, I got rolling hills and all that sort of stuff. So we're up and down through the hills. And these days I've been driving through quite a lot of flood waters. Yes, I know it's not recommended, but I have to get out. So, and where I live, it floods a lot. Let's go for a drive and have a chat as I pull off my front yard and off we go. Well, first of all, talk about some of the things that I find suck a lot of juice. So, for example, climate control. Right now, the climate control is actually on a automatic program, and if you are using that automatic program, it prioritizes getting the car to a temperature that you have set, in this case 19 degrees. If you go any higher than that, then obviously, you're going to burn more power. Now, so with that being set, that's what that does. Now, what sort of problems does that automatically bring? Well, one of the main problems is that you get a lot of hot air in the face. But you can actually adjust that quite easily by telling the car where you want to blow the stuff, because once it's on that automatic setting, it's just going to prioritize getting that heat. With the balance setting, you don't have any control as to where that air goes. It just goes everywhere to get the car warm. And what I find that saves you a lot of battery power is taking it off the automatic setting. And once you've taken it off that automatic setting, then you have a lot more control. So you can use this here to say, well, right now I just want it blowing the windscreen. I don't want it blowing my face, but you can just touch that and it starts blowing your face. Take it off the windscreen if you want, but I just want it blowing my feet and blowing the windscreen, and that's it. And then you have more controls over all that. Quite frankly, I see what all the big hype is about, where a lot of journalists are talking about having buttons. I do miss the buttons from the 3 Series. Rocker switches, boom, 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 done. Because I find just doing that just now, I'm on a lonely country road, it's just me here. But I couldn't be doing that when driving. I'll probably have to use the voice command, and I don't like using the voice command system. I just like, doing what I need to do before I set off. In terms of usage, 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour is what I normally would get, and that for me now is pretty decent. I'm actually quite liking that because of the fact that it is just better to have, better than most who are below that. I'm getting reliably over 200 miles. 220 is indicated at 100%. It's now dropped down a little bit. So I'm reliably getting over 200 miles in the winter months. And this is bearing in mind that I am actually doing a lot of short journeys, because I do the school run, then I go to work, and then I do the school run, then I go home. So these journeys are, short, and they're supposed to be better than petrol cars in this regard. But as I've seen a video quite recently with somebody else on an i4 who was basically saying that the short journeys is pretty much the same as in a petrol car, in that you will burn more if you're just stopping and going all the time. So, and I think I tend to agree with that. They reckon that motorway driving is where you're going to get your best usage, or just at least constantly going. So I'm just driving through a little bit of flood. It's just a small puddle this time, flood water. Anyway, they say you're going to get that, if you just consistently going. And I'll test that, around the Christmas period when I have to do a long journey to visit family up north. And I'll come back to you guys on that. So I find that, it's actually using up quite a lot of power, to do those sort of short journeys. On top of that, again, obviously, take into consideration, I am using the heat and all that sort of stuff, because I am not suffering myself just because. Now, in my last video, I mentioned, I talked about, how much battery, kilowatt hours on the battery I have. And it turns out that from the comments that I've been getting, there was something that I wasn't considering. A gross error in judgment is what I would call that, that I was not considering, which is that you do suffer quite a lot of charging loss. Now that's opened my eyes quite a bit, because when I was looking at the comments I was getting, it was saying that on a DC fast charger, your charging loss is around 10%. So I didn't know that, and I learned that, in very, very quickly. And so I did some other calculations, and indeed, I am losing about 10% in charging loss for me at 83, or let's just round it to 80 kilowatt hours usable in the battery. I am looking at 8 kilowatts lost. 8 kilowatts, can you imagine that? 8 kilowatts lost, charging loss on a DC fast charger. So you're actually paying for kilowattage that you are not using. So last night I've done a charge at home, where obviously, again, like I said, it's more expensive, but 34p per kilowatt hour. But I do have to do some AC charging, just to make sure I maintain the integrity of the battery. So I've done a charge at home, 100% from 19%. So that was a job done overnight, which was quite nice. And it took 63, just about 63 kilowatts. And when I did my calculations for charging loss, I only lost about 2%, because it's telling me that I have 85 kilowatts. And now that I've learned my lesson, the car has got 83 kilowatts in the battery. So that's only 2 kilowatts lost from AC charging, and that's charging at home at 7 kilowatt. And I have got my charger at home on variable anyway, so if there's a load on the house, the charger will reduce how much it's taking, just so that it doesn't blow the fuse. But obviously I charged overnight, so we were asleep, there's hardly anything being used, so the charger would charge at a maximum of 7. So by the time it got to about 4 o'clock this morning, the battery was fully charged. I'm thinking that this is pretty much the way to go now, because now that it's cold, I can't be bothered to go standing at the Ionity chargers and waiting for that to happen. So anyway, that's how much is charged. That's how much you're losing. You're losing about 2 kilowatts. And to be fair, I'd much rather that than be paying for about 8 kilowatts being lost when I go to a DC fast charger. So there you have it. But other than that, it's amazing. I still have my stupid grin on my face every time I drive this car. It is like, even in winter, it is really, really sweet. To drive. It gets warm dead quick. By the time you sit down in it, it's warm. So I don't even bother with preconditioning and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes don't even bother doing that. So I don't bother with preconditioning, because as soon as you sit in the car and you hit the go button, it's going to sort you right out straight away. So I'm really, really happy about that. So I just warm up in the car and then start moving. So those are the thoughts. I'm still struggling, with the cornering lights. I don't know if there's anybody that retrofits that, or if I should even be considering retrofitting it, or if there's anybody, that, or if I can, through BMW get the headlights changed, because they're generally all the same shape. It's just that the innards are different. So it might be a swap out and swap in. I don't know. But I do really want those cornering lights sorted out. I don't need the matrix stuff. I just need the cornering lights to be something that I have. Because even when I had this old girl of a car, this was my second BMW, this 5 Series 528i. They had that cornering light in the headlight. As soon as you turn left or right, that just turned and, just got you sorted out. Bearing in mind this was a used car, and whoever bought it first, they ticked all of the option boxes. That car was a gem. Really loved it. 6 cylinder straight 6 engine. It was beautiful, very silent. It had I think it was 18 wheels and big fat tires, so it was comfortable on the road. But anyway, I ramble on. So that was the autumn update. Anyway, guys, that is it for the minute. Thanks for coming along with me on the lovely ride, just to see what I'm getting in the car. Autumn update is pretty good. I'm gonna do another long journey in the depths of winter to see what's actually happening. But for now, though, I am quite happy with what I'm getting. The car is just working, an absolute gem. Beautiful to drive, still smooth and lovely. So you're gonna pull out on me, mate? Are you watching? Okay, good, you're watching. That's well done. So that's it. Anyway, I'm gonna catch you guys later. So look after yourselves, and until I see you on the next video, peace.